Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we'll return with round 13 of season 4 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Belgian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from Hungary, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. And we have some interesting news as we head into this weekend. Apparently the press are noticing a rivalry between myself and Charles Leclerc. We've got to make sure we keep out of each other's way on the track according to the team. And our agent, as you can see, currently tied on 94 driver rating each. And we're still a little way under where we wanted to be by the end of the season. They're aiming for a 95 driver rating. But of course, we return though to Belgium this weekend, the final race before the summer break. I must admit, of course, this place is still one of my favourites on the Formula 1 calendar as well. So we'll have to wait and see as to how things go. But of course, another driver that loves this circuit is, of course, Max Verstappen. Only 17 points in it between us two at the top of the table. But it was Fernando Alonso last time out who took his second race victory of the year there. He hasn't had a good run of form though prior to that, but Verstappen well and truly seems to be back, ladies and gentlemen, as well as our top 8 in the Drivers' Championship, finished in the top 8 positions in the Grand Prix as well. But for us though, we've obviously got one more upgrade going on the car before this weekend, courtesy of Charles Leclerc as well, and that one is going to work all nice and tidy. So that means performance-wise,
without any issue, so they'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Well, performance-wise, we've dropped a position there. McLaren have clearly brought some upgrades as well. Aston Martin still theoretically the team to beat ahead of Red Bull, McLaren, ourselves, and Haas. But let's do this thing then. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs here on the channel. But let's head to Belgium.
Welcome to the behemoth that they value so highly. This is Spa. It's high speed. It is really challenging. We have elevation, we have dramatic corners, and we have one driver in a few moments' time who will take pole position.
Well, there is no doubt in my mind where this car's strengths still lie in this game. Even with the new patch, everything is dictated by how many straights there are around a venue in this car. Last weekend at Hungary, we even struggled to see ourselves into Q3. This weekend, I mean, we've still got to get through Q2, but I'm hoping, we are going to be back in the fight for pole position. It was very, very odd, of course, that Ferrari's run just came to an end in such an instant. But I would like to, try and bag a couple more poles before the season is down and out. I mean, we're barely halfway through the campaign. There's still plenty that can change through the second half of the season. And as always, doing a tour of the 7-kilometre behemoth that is the one we love so much, Spa Francorchamps. It's always a pleasure to come back to do laps around this place. Well, a couple little mistakes then so far on this lap, but it's been fairly well hooked up for the most part as we make our way up and towards the final sector. Let's just try and keep it nice and tidy on the way through Blanchimont and Pouhon, even I should say. This final bus stop chicane so difficult now to try and spot our braking point there. We do pretty well through the first part, pretty well through the second. Get that throttle down on the run towards the line. We go P4. That should hopefully see us straight into Q3. Well, there we go. Once again, it seems to be Lando, Norris versus the Aston Martins at the front of the order. But Charles Leclerc, he obviously just scraped Q3 last week as well. 4th and 7th for us this time round. But once again, Lewis Hamilton failing to make it into that final session. But 3 tenths away from pole with what wasn't a perfect lap. I reckon if we nail it, we could get close to the 139s. Well, you have to be at 1 with the car if you want to nail a lap around this venue. And, well, so far this weekend we've been quick. But I haven't felt like I've got full confidence there, as you can see. Even trying to get the power down to start our first lap in anger here in Q3. Still struggling with the balance there slightly with the car. Desperately trying not to lock the fronts or the rears up too much. This thing seems to have both understeer and oversteer as we make our way around a lap as well as up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. That was fairly clean and tidy that time round, which I guess is good. I've got no idea what other times other drivers have set. We were too busy on our out lap to really look at any of that. 215 miles an hour though up the Kemmel Straight without too much ERS intervention, and that was still purple. So try and keep the car planted off the exit of Lecum and making our way down the hill through No Name Obviously, well, Malmedy and then No Name, of course. This corner now is really, really tricky. Never quite know whether to try and attack over the curbs there or just try and keep the car between them. As, yeah, poo on even, completely flat. You need to use a little bit of battery on the exit just to carry the speed down in towards the Fanyas chicane there. 5th gear on the way in. There's an apex there. You wouldn't believe it with the line we've just taken. And through there. Always seem to be a little bit sloppy. Just struggling still to work out reliable points on the exit of that corner. Avoid the curbing though as we make our way through the exit Stavolo, and now you can pretty much use the battery right the way up in towards the final corner of the lap. It's super helpful through this sector because of course it is quite uphill through this final sector of the lap. It's just spotting the 100-meter board, ready for that final big braking zone of the lap. Try and take it nice and tidy through the entry, through the exit, get that power down up towards the line. It is a sub 140, a 39.8, and we've got an extra set of tyres still to go. Or less than 30 seconds left on the clock then. Everybody else coming towards the end of their last-ditch run. Well, I think we've pretty much already locked this down as a pole position then. Verstappen, he looks like he's going to join us on the front row of the grid, but are we going to be able to improve any more and just open up our benchmark at the top of the order there, braking in towards turn 1, trying to meet the apex a little bit better that time round. Struggle to get the power down on the exit of the corner. You really actually don't want to worry about trying to get the tightest line through turn 1. It is more about trying to carry that momentum off the corner. So we'll try and use a little bit of battery up the Kemmel straight to see if we can try and find back a little bit of that time there. 215 miles an hour once again. But we're already going to be about 2/10 down. We've got a lot of slower traffic as well around the rest of the lap, but we've got nothing to lose, nothing really to gain. So we may as well try and absolutely send it there, and that 0.2 of a second has immediately been found once more. A little bit too much engine brake down through the hairpin, but as we chuck it between the curbs. Oh no! I'm so sorry to the team.
Let me know you're okay.
We've locked out pole position, but I've given them so much work to do. I think that's not even the first time I've done that on this game. That wasn't what I meant to do. I meant to have a look and watch the replay, but I've scrapped that. We're going to be lining up on pole, though, here for the Belgian Grand Prix. And now we've got to try and repay the team with a win.
It's the Belgian Grand Prix, the site of the maiden victory of the Jordan team in 1998. The venue that Michael Schumacher made his debut in Formula One. There is so much history here amongst the beautiful nature. Today we go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.3 miles of long straights, fast corners and huge elevation changes. The Turn 1 hairpin at La Source is straight into Eau Rouge, eventually climbing into Raidillon. It is an opening salvo like no other. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Firestarter lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Stroll, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Gasly, Perez, Hamilton, Ocon, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Russell, Ricciardo, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Vesti and Ollie Behrman. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, and as close as Verstappen got at the end of qualifying, not able to even join me in the sub 100 second club. That first lap, there was definitely a couple more tenths in it, but I'm pretty happy with what we were able to get hooked up, and luckily here in Belgium, tyre wear shouldn't be as bad as it has been at other venues as well. Soft to medium is going to be the strategy of play today, and we're going to once again go for about a lap and a half extra of fuel. This car's slowly becoming more fuel efficient, but it's still not perfect. Let's do this thing though. It's time. The one I really, really want to win this season. It's 5 red lights here on the grid. It's going to be lights out, and away we go there. Max Verstappen instantly is going to say thank you very much on the run down towards turn 1. So might Fernando Alonso, sorry, Lance Stroll that is, even in that Aston Martin through the first corner. Look at Carlos Sainz as well, up into P5 there. But my main championship rival immediately will snatch away pole position off the start of the Grand Prix as we make our way though up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon Hopefully we're not going to let him get away too quickly at the front of the order. We've got to be careful. Look at that Aston Martin. Straightlinespeed.com for Lance Stroll, who will slot up into P2 despite starting this race on the harder compounded tyre there. So that's worked out really nicely for Verstappen then off the first couple of corners. As you can see, the Canadian, though, immediately will go ahead and try to defend way too much down through the hairpin. And clean around the outside will go there, back into that second place once again. So, you know, we don't want to spend too long battling it out with the Canadian here early on in this Grand Prix. I mean, even on full fuel, Puon is completely flat out, which is absolutely mental there. But I'm just trying to keep one eye on that delta time to Verstappen to navigate our way through Fanyas. There we are, keeping it within 1 second. The AI's tyre warm-up is absolutely sensational inside this game. They just always come out the gates immediately with so much confidence in the car underneath them. But Norris up into P4 as well. Sainz still hanging on to that P5 ahead of Leclerc. And, of course, last weekend's winner in Fernando Alonso. I think we've just missed out then on the DRS this time round to Verstappen. But luckily, we've got a bit of a better gap over Lance Stroll. I mean, Lando Norris cooking himself in the fight very early on today. Like I said, I'm not too worried about, you know, trying to hassle Max or anything like that early on in the afternoon. I would like to beat him and try and head into the summer break with a 25-point buffer at the top of the table. Of course, after that, we know Zandvoort is basically, yeah, it's Max Verstappen territory, isn't it? I'll be very surprised if we can really do anything against him there, especially as obviously it's a high downforce circuit as well. We've got a couple of really horrible tracks coming up. On the other side of that, we have also got Monza. Well, Lance Stroll then is now dropped out of the DRS range, but he still seems to be able to put up a good fight against Lando Norris here. Are we going to be able to try and get a run on Verstappen? We know this car is a missile when it comes to straight line.
Right, here we go. Let's look to get past quickly and put them on the back foot. Great stuff. It looked like you made easy work of that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race.
Well, Mark's still blabbering on there as we're still side by side with the Dutchman. That time round, just ran ourselves a bit too far into the corner. I really sent it there just because I was more interested in trying to get that objective done as quickly as possible. I wish there was a way to disable them inside this game. They were a fun novelty, but boy oh boy have they worn off. Now again, Verstappen trying to harvest as we make our way up in towards the final sector of the lap, and that slipstream can be worth quite a lot of speed here. So you'll just have a look down the inside there, and again, just like we struggled with in qualifying, a little bit of rear locking there through the final corner. Try and put the power down again as we roll on to lap 5 of this GP. Already, I'm just starting to potentially see the switch between the softs and the mediums there, because Stroll is starting just to close back in a little bit. Can we keep him out of the DRS range? I don't think we will, annoyingly. So yeah, Lance Stroll 1 lap out of it, and immediately he's got back inside the range. Because once again, it is going to be a top 2 at the championship, battling their way up the Kemmel Straight here. Are we going to be able to get the run on Verstappen once again? He's going to go defensive on us, as you would expect. To the outside we'll go. Making sure we spot our braking point that time around. He gives me the room. Oh, we get a huge snap though on the exit. Just about hold it on the circuit. And we are back into the lead of the Grand Prix. How come when I'm in front, then I'm the one that's able to get a run on Verstappen, and now suddenly he's the car behind. He's suddenly up the pace as well then, as the Dutchman practically pushing me along up in towards the final couple of corners. He's going to try and look around the outside into the bus stop chicane there and really squeeze me in towards the apex. We'll try and hang on to it around his outside through that final corner. And you can just see again though the Dutchman able to try and get that car past us. And I mean, Lance Stroll, get the popcorn out, sir. He's got the best seat in the house for this one as we're battling. I mean, Spa is pretty much known for having battles up the Kemmel Straight. That's about it. Verstappen and I throwing caution to the wind to that today. And we are trying to battle pretty much everywhere. 2 cars can go side by side at the moment. As once again, we'll try and get a run up the Kemmel Straight. Will we see Stroll get even closer to the pair of us as Verstappen again? We're going to really try and force him to that inside. It's a bit of deja vu. And again, we will just about complete the move there. And again, we'll make a hash of the chicane on the exit. Oh, Verstappen almost drops it into the side of me, though. Just about gathers it up and will hang on. Well, I think I've worked out why Lance Stroll was able to close back in so quickly on us. I can't say the same for Max, but we have cooked our soft compound tyres at the rears. So many traction zones around this venue. We really are trying to throw the weight around and really lean on that rear end. That's really, really compromised us in the first half of this Grand Prix. And you can just see how much we're sliding around, how much less aggressive we have to be with the front of the car, because we just don't know whether the rear end is going to be able to keep up with it.
The grip levels are going to start falling away soon.
Yeah, we have to try and go for a bit of a change of strategy here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and box for the undercut, go to the hards now, and hopefully we'll still be out of the front of the order. And then maybe just those tyres will last a bit better in the second half of the GP. Oh, and here we go again then. Verstappen trying to get the run on me. This time around though, Lance Stroll might be able to get pretty close as well then, as Verstappen forcing his way to the inside. As we make our way up through Blanchimont, we'll still hang it side by side with the Dutchman. Try and keep the car down the inside. There is a little bit of side pod contact. We are going to immediately bail out then and into the pit lane there. And we'll leave that group of cars just to fight with each other. Just being careful that we don't get done for pit lane speeding as well. But once again, we saw at the Hungaroring last weekend. We were one of the first cars in off of the first stint.
Go. That was a fantastic stop. Faster than we were expecting.
Yeah, obviously in that Grand Prix, it kind of meant we couldn't do a lot towards the end of the race. Here, though, might be a bit of a different story, as long as we don't come out in too much dirty air.
See these tyres through to the end now.
So just see Fred Vesti there's going to get past me. George Russell have an absolute stinker of an afternoon as well, all the way down in last place. And I think, yeah, this might have timed out quite nicely for us, because we should get the DRS, and hopefully we'll be able to move immediately back past one of Formula One's least experienced drivers on the grid. Fred Vesti again is going to try and defend from me. How many times have I battled with him in this game? And how many times has he actually won out? I really wish by going with a strategy like that, it would force the AI into trying to change up their own strategy as well inside F1 24. It is one of the things that really does ruin this game, is kind of the lack of intelligence that the AI have. Artificial, definitely. Intelligent, not so much. I know I've said that one before many times in the past, but up past Guan Yu will go. Ollie Behrman next up in that Williams. Just try and make sure that we claim some DRS off of him. Maybe only back down in towards turn 1, as you can just see how much more grip we've got. Verstappen has pit though, so I guess that's interesting. We'll wait and see as to where the Dutchman comes out in this Grand Prix. As around the outside of Behrman through turn 1. Maybe it would have been worth sitting in behind him, but yeah, Verstappen's way behind. So not too sure what's happened to the Dutchman, but he's suddenly, yeah, nowhere near us. Well, are we going to see more cars then into the pit lane at the end of this lap? Yes, we will. Thank you very much.
Really good. You hit that target nicely. There's a long way to go in this race, so let's keep it clean.
Well, Oscar Piastri, another one then that's had a couple of very, very poor rounds in recent races. But it does seem like we've got a bit more strategy diversity this weekend, as hopefully we will get within 1 second of that Mercedes. I don't think we are, though, annoyingly. So we won't get a bit of free DRS either from the Australian. I would have thought he's probably going to be pitting quite soon as well, as it is, I believe, Stroll at the front of the order. Charles Leclerc desperate to try and hunt him down. And here we go then, we don't want to lose too much time stuck behind Oscar Piastri. We've already seen the gap to Alonso coming down over the course of this lap. We'll get to the inside though, and so much more straight line speed there than the Mercedes. Charles Leclerc into the pit lane as well, as I would expect are most of our front runners. Yuki Tsunoda being able to take those soft tyres a very fair distance, so GG's to him in that Alpine car, clearly having one of his better Grand Prix so far of the year. To go purple through that final sector, and look at that, strategy has worked out beautifully for us. Up into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix will go, as Gasly as well doing very, very well, and look how powerful the undercut has been. Stroll still up in P2 ahead of Alonso. As soon as I say that, Alonso will get past him. But we've now got almost a 6-second lead at the front of the field. We just got to try and hang on to this and make sure that we just give ourselves more of a cushion again in the title fight. We've got yellows, someone's got issues. I think that's Gasly. I think Pierre Gasly then, as soon as I mention how he and Haas are having another pretty decent weekend, immediately it's going to go up in smoke for him there, and well, another Ferrari power unit.
Okay, they're out of this race.
I must admit, that does make me ever so slightly nervous in towards the second half of the GP. What also makes me nervous is how quick Alonso's going. Well, I tell you what, Alonso has got the bit between his teeth here. 9 laps left of this race.
7.2 seconds.
He's absolutely bolted away from the likes of Lance Stroll. As Verstappen now as well clearly remembering how to drive a Formula 1 car. I mean, the last time we battled with Alonso, it didn't end well. That contact back at Austria a few rounds ago certainly left both of us with a lot of work to do. But will the Spaniard even be able to get to me before the end of this one? I think he might. Well, we know just how experienced Fernando Alonso is. He's got softer, fresher tyres than myself. Yeah, still, as Mark says, a long way left to go off this Grand Prix. 6 laps after this one. So we're barely at 2/3 distance here. And, well, yeah, Alonso is just taking a few tenths out of me each and every lap. Don't know, you know, we want to try and make sure that we keep him out of the DRS range for as long as possible so he doesn't get that free extra bit of time. But I'm just starting to get nervous here. That Aston Martin is such a consistent race car at the moment. And it's good both at the high downforce and the low downforce circuits. And pretty much everywhere on a track that combines the both. Well, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to say it, but based on that lap time, I think we can say it with confidence. The hard compound tyre absolutely was the way to go in the second half of this Grand Prix. 5 laps left now, and that gap to Alonso starting to creep the right way once more. A 1:43 flat. I don't know what the fastest lap time is by Verstappen. Not sure we're going to be able to beat it, but I might just try and save up all of our battery and go for a last-ditch run on the last lap of the Grand Prix. Is there any way I can find out? Oh, there we go. There is an option for it inside this game. And now I've got to try and spam through buttons.
Fastest lap at the moment, 1 minute 42.7.
We need to find 3 tenths on that lap, so I think that's what we're going to do. Charge up the pack. We might be able to try and go for 2 attempts at it. Well, I've got to admit, this might be a slightly risky thing to be doing when we've got a lead in this Grand Prix and a lead in the championship. But, yeah, 1 extra point for us is obviously 1 point lost for Verstappen, which would be really, really important there. That lap was not great, though. 1:45.2, so we need to try and find 2.5 seconds. There were quite a few mistakes, though, on that lap. And, of course, I was charging up the battery as well there. So we'll just try and use a bit of this battery right the way around the lap. Obviously use it in the strategic spots we know are going to be quite useful there, as up through a Rouge and Rayon will go. Just try and make sure as well we've got to, you know, make sure that we've got enough around the second half of the lap, because up in towards that final corner it is very, very powerful in this race. Is green through that first sector. That's quite impressive when you think about the fact we've had DRS runs quite a few times. But just keep trying to get the hammer down. Even through the hairpin will go. Keep the car tucked up next to that apex. This might end up clinically being a better lap than what we did in qualifying. So we just nicked the gravel there on the way down the hill. Got to be careful of that one. And then back down into 7th gear there. Use that exit curbing. And just a little splash of battery as well to carry the speed off of the corner. And then in towards Fanyas. Just nice and tidy on the way in. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on the way out. We need to be a sub 115 at the end of this split, I think, if we want to try and claim this. And we're at a 1:14.7. Okay, then. So as we'll try and use the battery up in towards the final corner here. I mean, this is just goes to showcase the pace of this car. When we get it nailed, use every last little bit that we've got available to us up in towards the bus stop, braking just a little bit early. We can try and attack the curbs both on the way in and on the way out. 1:42.7 by Verstappen. What are we going to be able to do? 1:42.6! And that hopefully is going to be a bonus point coming our way. 1 lap to go then here from the Ardennes Forest, here from the Belgian Grand Prix. And I know I always say it, I love this place. It's so fun. And we've always gone pretty well here as well. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix again then, just to try and keep it a bit tidier.
8.2 seconds.
I tell you what can we say about this Grand Prix today? I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting us to have the car to beat still this afternoon. I thought Hungary was a bit of a wake-up call, but yeah, whenever we come back to this place, we always seem to find something just that little bit extra. Alonso, once again, seemingly a very, very big threat here, but Leclerc and Stroll able to beat a charging Verstappen as of right now towards the end of the afternoon as well. Does us wonders for the Drivers' Championship, of course. We've got the summer break coming up. Ferrari here last year took a 1-2. This time around, that's definitely not going to happen, but are we going to get both cars on the podium? And we're hopefully as well, we're going to have a 1 race margin as well at the top of the table, just in case our power unit gives up or something in one of the final few rounds of the championship as well. Alonso, though, is definitely going to be a threat in the second half of the campaign, as well as Aston Martin in that Constructors' Championship. Stroll looks like he has bagged that P3 position ahead of Leclerc, unless our teammate can get a run somewhere, anywhere on the final lap of the Grand Prix. But as we make our way then up in towards the final few corners here at Spa Francorchamps, pole position on Saturday, race win hopefully on Sunday with the fastest lap as well. We didn't lead every lap, but it was a beautiful strategy that meant the second half of this Grand Prix was pretty comfortable for us through the final corners. Back-to-back wins here in the Ardennes. It is P1 here in the Belgian Grand Prix.
Yes, 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 guys, yes! Come on, boys!
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here at Spa Francorchamps, but they've done so in spectacular style.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Well, there we go. It is P1 at the end of the day here in the Ardennes, and 26 points on the board. I think that's obviously our first win, since Britain just a couple of rounds ago, but prior to that, we had certainly been waiting quite a while there. Aston Martin, though, joined us on the podium, once again reminding everybody that they are a serious championship threat. Leclerc in P4 ahead of Verstappen and Lando. Norris. Sainz getting the better of Sergio Perez there, with Hamilton and Tsunoda rounding out your top 10. George Russell, no idea what happened to him, just a stinker of an afternoon. All the way down in P16 come the checkered flag, and Pierre Gasly, the only driver who failed to even see that. That means as we head into the summer, a 33-point lead over Verstappen there, 52 ahead of our teammate Charles Leclerc, but you can see Alonso and Norris not too far behind him. Stroll still in 6th, ahead of Russell and Hamilton, with Piastri and Hülkenberg still inside your top 10 there. Further down the order, Sainz with some good points as well. I mean, Gasly and Sainz, two of, kind of the Red Bull, previous in the program, could be out Perez by the end of the year. Meanwhile, Verstappen is still trying to fight for a world championship. The gap in the constructors, though, does go our way slightly. An 81-point buffer now ahead of Aston Martin as well. There is McLaren still ahead of Red Bull and Mercedes in a bit of no man's land. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Dutch Grand Prix.